Yeah, with the remaining time that we have left, sorry we don't have more time. We so much news to cover, but I mean, as long as you can go, Zine, if you need to head out at any time, let
And I'm fine.
yeah,
It's
let us.
weekend.
Yeah, because we would like to go into this a little bit now, like talk about you and your games before we wrap up the show.
Yeah, sure.
With as much time as we have, it's been really cool. The nice thing about just the whole structure this week and kind of relevancy is that kind of our interview with you has been able to kind of be speckled out throughout the whole podcast, where you've been able to really contribute to the conversation and stuff, because a lot of it's relevant to what you do, like with the kind of the porting and the game design and just the whole aspect of how do you develop for this hardware and stuff. And so I think the first, gosh, I mean, I know Zach has a ton of questions. He had some that were like written out and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have a question, kind of
oh,
maybe right
Yeah,
off the bat. I
yeah.
wanted to know, does that 100 letter password for solely work in Code 7? That when it gives you say you have to enter like 100, and I'm like trying like to see all the things flashing up, does that actually work? Does it like do an
is
Easter
there
egg? I don't know. Maybe I have to figure out myself, but
What's the letter word?
Well, that information is restricted.
Oh,
No, that doesn't work.
yeah,
oh,
it would
really?
seem
Um,
almost impossible to do. But
yeah, it was a narrative
yeah,
decision. I mean, we did this project in 1 week.
uh-huh.
It was
Oh,
like a
wow.
That's
yeah, it
crazy.
was started as a student project in first semester. We had rapid prototyping, was it called?
Hmm.
Hmm.
And yeah, we had 1 week for coming up with the idea, writing the dialogue, programming it, and yeah,
Wow,
voice
crazy.
voice acting and stuff.
Wow.
So we couldn't like implement any Easter eggs or
Hmm.
something,
Yeah,
but there will probably be some in the final game, but
that's
not in
really
this
cool.
one.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that don't know, like what Zach's talking about, we won't spoil the game because the game is
Yeah.
definitely something that needs to be like experienced. You need to play through it and kind of experience the narrative for yourself to have like the most impact. And if we kind of diminish it here, then
Yeah.
then I'll like hinder the experience. And like Zach had told me the questions he had for you before I played Code 7, and he was like, I'm gonna ask him what the 100 word thing is. I'm like, whatever that means. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. And then when I was playing the game and it popped up, I'm like, this is it. This is the moment. I need to type. And I'm like just slamming my keyboard. Slamming my keyboard actually helped me a few times in that game. So
Yeah.
was really
Yeah.
Good.
fun. And yeah, to make that in a week, because I looked into your other games too, and a lot of them it seems like you make like have certain games that you made like in just one day, or like we're at
Yeah.
some sort of like conference or event where it was like, okay, we made this game in one day. Like I think one of them, what was I forgot the name of
Stab
it,
of
but
conscience, maybe. That
oh
was.
there was one that was like Minecraft meets like sound shapes, where it was like
Yeah.
music blocks and stuff.
Oh yeah, Klangwelt.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's it's a German term. It translates to sound world.
that makes sense.
And no, we did that in 3 days. I think.
Still though, come on, 3 days.
Yeah, yeah, 3 days. I mean, I'm thinking if I have ever done a game in 1 day. Yeah, yeah. We made a rapid prototype day for redoing what's uh what's the game's name again? It's a really old arcade game where you have the board and you have to break the bricks at the top, like a
Oh, I
bit
think
like
I may have seen that, like Blob Board or something. I don't know. Like I thought it was
yeah,
like Glob or Goblin or something.
yeah.
Um,
I know it's an old classic arcade game, and we took 1 day to remake it. I think this is the shortest I've ever done.
hmm.
But no, like my partner Kevin and I, we do a lot of game jams, and there you have mostly 3 days to do a game to a certain topic. And yeah, Klangwelt started like this. It was the topic growth, and we made a game where yeah, you build objects, and those objects make a sound, and you can pick the note like on a piano keyboard.
Yeah, it was really
And
fun.
yeah, and the world grows, like the music and the world, the more you play with it.
Might I add, a game that would be right at home on the Wii U gamepad. I mean, I'm just saying, you have the Wii U gamepad, you're tapping the blocks, you're putting in your sound and your keyboard down there. Just saying,
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
if the Wii U is barren this holiday season, you just slip right in there and you'll be like, "Yo, we got Sound World here.
Yeah.
Here
yeah,
you
right.
go." I mean, people eat up Minecraft left and right, and if you say, "Hey, here's Minecraft," but you get to make the music because it sounds kind of like that kind of like electronic music and stuff, and really cool. I mean, I only got to play it for I probably played it for maybe like 20, 30 minutes or so, and I didn't really
Yeah,
know what I was doing because it's just like I started making all sorts of like what is it like tritones or yeah, just
yeah.
really like just chords and stuff that did not go well, like or non-tonic and stuff. It was just yeah, tritonic or something. I took music for 3 years. I've already forgotten everything.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Actually, we're still working on that game as a side project. On Game Jolt, I think you played it. It's a pretty old version. We now have chord support, if you want to call it like that.
oh
So you
wow.
can, so you have a book and you always can look it up and the chord families, and you get like points when you like diamonds when you unlock a new chord, and then it will be displayed. So it has a bit more
Hmm.
learning value now.
Hmm.
We think about bringing it out on mobile devices,
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you
and
think?
yeah,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no,
Well, I
no.
was gonna say, do you think like with the 3DS, do you think have you ever thought about developing for that? And that, when I was looking at kind of the images, because I have a Samsung phone, I didn't get a chance to actually play that game, but it looked like kind of the isometric or like kind of overview, like it seemed if it was 3D on the 3DS, it'd be kind of a cool thing, and it kind of also has the gamepad sort of touch screen at the bottom. Have you
Yeah,
ever thought about messing with like the 3D features or doing any sort of 3DS port of one of your games or something?
not yet,
Yeah.
because yeah, I mean it was more of an accident that we developed for Wii U because it wasn't planned at the beginning.
Hmm.
Hmm.
It like developed the project developed as we made it like Typoman. We saw like okay, Wii U could be something for us, and so it's not actually our or my primary focus.
Right.
And also now since I'm not working there anymore at Brainseed Factory, I
Hmm.
would have to apply a new as a developer.
Oh, I
Um,
see.
Oh
I,
okay.
I think it will not be a problem, but it's still a bit of like effort to get thing like the pipes going again.
Hmm.
And I would have to have my like a new dev kit and stuff, and
Yeah, like
this all in the beginning a lot of effort. But we thought about Code 7 could be on Wii U or NX because
Definitely.
a lot of people ask us, yeah, will you port it to consoles?
hmm
And we at beginning we always said no, it's a text adventure, you have to
right.
type, you need a keyboard, like it's part of the feeling. But then we thought about it, and if we had to pick a console, Wii U would make sense because you could type on the screen.
Definitely.
Or the version we now have also have has like icons of all the objects you can interact with. So like the commands are always set together with like the object and dot and then the verb like
Right.
Yeah.
door dot open, and it's a lot with those two things. And we also thought about the possibility that you don't type, but you gather together like the words
Mm.
Oh
with
okay.
the object and a list for the objects and a list for the verbs or something.
Yeah.
That could be possible, maybe even for touch devices, but it's a lot of
Yeah.
yeah thinking, not realizing that right now.
Mm.
Yeah, I had gone into it with the mindset of like, I mean, just from the kind of perspective of a Nintendo fan and for the Nintendo podcast discussion, I was like, could this be, relevant and like, could this be like ported to the Wii U or the NX or the 3DS and like, could that discussion be possible? And there was a lot of me that was like, this is so text heavy, like
hmm
even more so
Yeah,
like than Typo Man, where Typo Man like it's kind of like more slower pace where you can move the letters around and you can form the word and maybe do trial and error and stuff. But there's like some moments in Code 7 where it's like you got to type this in fast, hit enter, go. And I feel like
yeah,
if you pull out the stylus and you're trying to click on the gamepad, the letters, it may be a little too slow. Although you could probably adjust that in the development. Be like, okay, maybe slow it down a little bit or like give a little bit more grace room or something. But because yeah, that was such a good experience. I think would be right at home with like a kind of like a screen in your lap, like you basically have like your terminal keyboard like right at your on your like lap and stuff, and so that could be really cool. Do you? Because you had mentioned that you're kind of working now in Code 7. Was that originally kind of envisioned as okay? What we have up online right now is going to be the prelude, and then we're going to make episodes later, or because it seems like, I mean, at first glance, that Code 7 is like kind of a standalone game, and then you find out later, oh, this is just the first chapter in a series like of a longer narrative. Like,
Yeah.
did you kind of come up with the idea later to make this longer than it was? And
Yes, it
okay,
wasn't it wasn't planned at the beginning. As said, it was a student project,
yeah,
and we finished it and we uploaded it and it was done. And but then a lot of people played it on Game Jolt and we got a lot of good ratings, and a lot of people wrote like, "Wow, I usually think text adventures are so boring. This was so exciting." And that was the point where we started to think about, wow, maybe this is like a game we should develop further, because we didn't expect that. Usually there has been a lot of try like experiments bringing the text venture back, but none of them was very successful.
mm,
I mean, I think the most advanced text adventure visually that still sticks to the old rules is Cypher, but almost never have no one has heard of it.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just know the one from the movie. Have you seen the movie Big with Tom Hanks?
Um, I don't
Little boy
know.
becomes big overnight. I don't know. He has a game in there
Oh
that's a
yeah.
text adventure, and I always thought that was the coolest game in the world because it's
Yeah.
like, what do you want to melt this guy with? And he just smirks and he's like, the ice rod. And I'm like, how did the game know that what he typed would, or like the fire rod or something? I'm not like too sure what it was. I remember just being like, how did the game know that ice rod was the right answer?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then last night I was playing and it was like, how do you want to open the door? And I'm like, door open? And it was like, that's it. And I'm like, no way, this game knows me.
Yeah.
But, but
Yeah. We have to find the balance between freedom and still feeling like text adventure, but skipping all the frustration of like typing 10 things and nothing works because the parser doesn't get it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, what I was saying is that all those feedback from the users and the nomination from the Amaze Award, which is a pretty big festival for indie games in Germany, um, with we started to think about, okay, we could make a bigger story out of it, maybe even in 5 chapters, like because we're huge Telltale fans and like
Oh yeah, definitely.
narrative games, and yeah, we thought about, okay, let's do something like this but as a text adventure. And yeah, then we started. We founded the company, and now we're working on those 5 episodes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Telltale is one of my favorite developers. I've actually kind of talked back and forth with some of the developers and writers over there when doing like live stream and let's plays of their games, and they're awesome people. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I've played after, like The Walking Dead, like their older stuff and all that, like isn't bad, but I haven't played it, and a lot of people are kind of like, you don't really need to bother with that too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Walking Dead onwards, I don't think there's a Telltale game out there that's not like very good. I mean, they're all, as far as narrative goes, always like on point. Um, and while the end, like people get a lot of like criticism on the engine and stuff, it seems like even that they're starting to refine. And yeah, like are definitely like one of like the top dogs and stuff. And so to have them as an inspiration makes a lot of sense. Like I think I also saw that like on your profile you had like a Ori and the Blind Forest was an inspiration,
Yeah.
which I definitely saw. I don't know what was your kind of hand in the Typoman development. I know you're not there anymore, and it's kind of focusing now on the new projects and stuff. But I
Yeah.
couldn't help but notice that Typo Man kind of had, it seemed, especially with like the lighting and stuff, kind of had that Ori and the Blind Forest. Were you the art direction, or were you the music, or were you the gameplay mechanics, like, or all of that, or none of the above, or?
I was a lot of things. I mean, when the project started in 2011 on paper, and back at those days we were like 3 people, 2 programmers and me. And at that time I did everything except programming.
Okay.
So we came up with the initial concept, and I wrote the game design document. And at the production, like when at the end, we were 6 people working on that project. And
Okay.
what I did was the game design and the level design, uh, the concept for the character design. Then our artists,
Hero, so yeah, such a cool looking character. Uh,
yeah, he
Starting
drew
off the game and stuff is little. Oh, I had like no idea. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, you're a little guy.
yeah, letters live. And yeah, animation,
Yeah, cool.
character. I did a lot of stuff. I'm kind of the all rounder. I can't settle with just one thing. I have always to try stuff. I also wanted to do the music, but then I would have to split myself because I
Yeah.
had to
I was wondering if you
do
did the
some.
music because I was checking out your SoundCloud and you had a lot of tunes on there, and I was like, I wonder,
Yeah,
like some of these kind of sound like the music, but I wasn't too sure. I'm like, I don't know though,
no,
because it looks like kind of his art style too, and he also talks about writing, so I wonder if he wrote it. But I also know that he does game design. Did he
yeah,
do? He can't have done all of this though. Like I don't know what did. And so I was gonna ask you like kind of pinpoint what you like was the one thing you did, but yeah, well, lo and behold, you did it all. With the, I mean, such a small studio, that's awesome. I was also
yeah,
gonna ask. I mean, we want to wrap up the podcast just because um, the, our listeners' attention spans and stuff want to hope they like go to the very end of the episode and stuff, and also to respect your time and all of that. But I was gonna ask. I mean, you have so just kind of moving forward now. I think in the future of Zein Okko and Good Wolf Studio, kind of like what are maybe your upcoming plans? If you have Code 7 now, you're doing the 5 episodes, um,
yeah,
thinking maybe about like how that could be a console port, how it could work with the Wii U, and then you've also done like a lot of other various projects. I mean, as far as I can't pronounce the name, the Sound World game, but then you also have,
Klangwelt.
yeah, that one. And then you also have Typoman. Like, is that once you wrap up Code 7 and stuff, is kind of the next project, okay, how do we port this to a console, or do we just move on to another game? Would you like ever, because I mean you mentioned that Typoman was kind of like the most I don't know if you'd say ambitious, but like kind of like the biggest game that you've worked on. Would you want to return to something and maybe try to create something? I mean, you can't do Typo Man 2 because you're not with Brainseed anymore, but you could maybe return to that kind of concept of playing with text and platforming. Like what's the next step moving forward with you and your studio in the next kind of year and
Yeah. Um, we're not thinking too much about porting. We will probably head to the next project. Even, I mean, in game development, when you're small, it's good to have already the next project in the pipes
yeah.
before you launch. And what we want to do is primarily narrative games, so story-driven games in any sorts of media. And we don't have something specific now. We think about like maybe experimenting with HTC Vive and VR a little bit.
Oh, nice.
Um, but we also think about having some interactive comics or something. Uh, we still have to find what is our thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, it appears to be, at least my thing appears to be words in some sort of
Yeah,
Yep.
some
definitely.
sort of. I also thought about a game where you have a book, and you read a part of story, and then on every page you can dive into what happens now and have to solve a puzzle and come back. So I think a lot about words and language as gameplay,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure if this will be our trademark. Um, yeah, we focus on story. That's our thing
Yeah.
where we evolve around,
Mm.
and we'll see what will be after Code 7.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was really cool to see that kind of style carry through between Code 7 and Typo Man was just, yeah, the wordplay, the kind of the almost puns, but also just like the puzzles through like what's the word combination that cracks this puzzle, was really really fun, and for was kind of like a new way of telling story. I think that really only could be done, I think, on the medium of video games, which
Mm.
is always cool when those experiences happen, like where you can argue with a lot of modern games, like this could be a movie, like Uncharted is awesome, but Uncharted could be a movie maybe, or the Telltale games could be this. But I mean, then you have like these games and stuff where you, in order to have that experience, you really need to be immersed in it, like through picking and
Yeah.
choosing the words and typing them yourself and all of that. And so, very, very, very cool. And we look forward to kind of seeing where you go, and as your studio develops and evolves and expands. No doubt we'll have success because yeah, these games are awesome. The wordplay is such a
Thank you.
cool hook, and we're glad that we were able to have you on because now people are going to look back at you, in 5 or 10 years, and they're going to be like, that guy was on Koppai. Now he's like getting Game of the Year awards at the Game Awards with standing next to Kojima and all that. And so
Who knows?
who knows? One day.
Or the other way around, in 10 years, you're gonna be like the leading podcast, and I'd be like, I was there, I was there.
Home Studio is on. Yeah, hopefully we'll see. We're trying and all that. Zach, was there anything that you wanted to say? I guess like even like back in the interview, or just to close out. Any last questions that you had, or is there anything you want to say to lead to the closeout?
Um, all I want to say really is that I think that the the game, like the niche that you're in, the whole word thing, I think it's what you guys maybe are meant to do, and it's working out so great. All of the things that I've experienced so far with your games are really amazing experiences, and I think that
Thank you.
it's really valuable and something that everybody will be able to jump on and enjoy, and everybody needs to go check out these games because they are
Definitely.
really incredible. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, Code 7 gave me chills. It's an experience that everybody needs to go play. I need
It's
to
free.
beat,
Yeah.
yeah, it's free. I need to go beat Typo Man, but what I played of that so far has been absolutely mind blowing, amazing. And so yeah, definitely everybody
Some
go
tricky
check out this
puzzles.
guy. Check out Good Wolf Studios and Zein Okko. He's awesome. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Otherwise,
there's no excuse to not go ahead and go try the games because Code 7 is free, and Typo Man, unless you don't have a Wii U, Typo Man has a demo. So you can try out both of those. And then all the other ones, if you just search for Xenoko, his name will be in the title and the description. If you search for him, you'll be able to find his other games on Game Jolt. And most of them, I think, if not all of them, are free to play, and try
Yeah.
out and experience. And so definitely go check those out. Yeah, good call. And even if you do decide like to get Typo Man stuff, like it's not too expensive. And so definitely, I mean, I think I can just tell that the game's gonna be worth its weight. And
I think it
so
should be on everybody's Wii U console. It's like one of those games that is
yeah,
right
that's
at home
true.
now on my Wii U. So
Well, and it's also one of those things where people are always like, well, "What do you use the gamepad for?" And it's like
yeah,
for stuff like this. Like, come
hmm
on,
yeah.
this can't happen on
Yeah.
another console. I mean, at least not as intuitive as the way it is on the Wii U. And
Right.
so yeah, go check those games out.